them. This is all caused by stress. Tell you to slow down and you're doing too much. Listen to them. This is all caused by stress. When your friends and family tell you to slow down and you're doing too much, listen to them. This is all caused by stress.
Hi guys, it's me, Salagi. Sorry, having a little difficulty. I just wanted to read this article. It's about re-emerging childhood diseases, basically, in my opinion. Excuse me. It says, Gen Z woman sees rash on arm after swimming in pool, then comes diagnosis. So that lady, I don't know if that was the lady that this article is talking about, but that was someone with basically the shingles. How do I get rid of that? Okay. A Gen Z woman... Dang it. A Gen Z woman returned from vacation with more than just memories. What she believed was a chlorine rash was something else entirely. Reddit user U-Survivor Saved My Life from New England came back from Cape Cod, Massachusetts with a rash on her left arm. On August 17th, she shared a photo titled, "What was supposed to be a nice vacation turned into me developing a chlorine rash after swimming. The rash started off as small and resembled hives," she told Newsweek. "We had just gone swimming before, so I assumed it must have been from the chlorine since some people are sensitive." So here's the rash that the lady developed while swimming. I'm assuming that's when it happened. Like, it just kind of, I don't know. So she thought it was from the chlorine, which I know can happen. Like, I used to slather my daughter. She had really fair skin. I would put like SPF 40 on her, and one time we were at the beach and she got a really bad sunburn after I put that sunscreen on her, sunblock, and I just assumed that it was the sun, but the more I looked into it, I realized that that could have been a chemical burn. So anyways, I know that's not this, but I feel like all roads kind of lead to Rome sometimes, you know. Maybe not with the sunblock, but just in these incidences. Okay, so 2 screenshots from the viral post showing the rash on the woman's arm and a close-up of the cluster. What I didn't know was that chlorine rashes usually occur on both sides of the body, where it gets in between the bathing suit. The story post went viral, earning 9,800 upvotes and over 1,000 comments at the time of writing. The 22-year-old explained that the rash clusters on her arm had been spreading for 3 days. While she first assumed it was from the pool, Reddit users were quick to suggest otherwise. From rash to diagnosis. Less than 24 hours later, she posted an update. The rash was not caused by chlorine, but shingles. According to her post, her primary care physician initially suspected poison ivy or shingles and recommended she take an antihistamine until her appointment the next day. However, after looking more closely at the photos, he called back with a more certain answer. When she visited the office, the doctor turned her case into a live teaching moment. "I saw him this morning and he brought 3 of his PAs to see my arm as a teaching moment," she said. "They were shocked." What is shingles? The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention explains that shingles, or herpes zoster, is caused by the reactivation of the varicella zoster virus. the same virus that causes chickenpox. The rash typically develops on one side of the body or face and forms blisters that scab over in 7 to 10 days, usually healing within 2 to 4 weeks. While shingles is more common in older adults, it can cause persistent nerve pain as long-term complication. That said, this complication is uncommon in people under 40. Despite this, the poster added, "I have nerve pain, but am still okay," in parentheses, to go out and run errands. Is shingles contagious? Shingles itself is not directly contagious. However, the varicella-zoster virus can spread. You cannot catch shingles directly from someone with shingles. If you've never had chickenpox or the vaccine, you can catch chickenpox from someone with shingles, which could later lead to shingles. The virus spreads primarily through direct contact with blister fluid or, less commonly, inhaling particles from the rash. People with chickenpox are more contagious than those with shingles. Reddit reacts. The woman thanked Reddit users who had suspected shingles before her doctor confirmed the diagnosis. Others on the platform shared their own stories of receiving medical advice from the online community. One user commented, "I posted on a different subreddit last year if I should see my GP about this weird stomach pain I had and described it. And people told me to go to the ER because it sounded like appendicitis. Turns out it was. I was very grateful for them." Another person revealed the original post helped them recognize their own case of shingles. "This is insane. I saw your post last night and I saw all the comments. And the one thing is I had a rash I'd been dealing with a couple days that I thought was just poison oak. But it was more painful and just different. Because of your post, I went to the urgent care today and guess what? I got shingles too. Thank you for your post, or I might have missed the window too. Insane that I just happened to see your post when I most needed it." So that's the end of the article. But I wanted to also add that I was searching around a little bit and I did see an article that was talking about the C19, VAX, and how it could have possibly brought out a reemergence of chickenpox and shingles. And this is in my opinion. It was a real article discussing that, but as I was reading it, I was thinking to myself, how interesting that one vaccine can sort of cancel out another, in a sense. And I know I said the word that YouTube hates, so we'll see if this video makes it far or if I get it stricken down because I'm talking about the V word. But anyhow, it's just occurred to me that that's a huge possibility. And I know of a few people that did get the C19 and they had other ailments, or I guess things that they would have been inoculated from as a child, reemerge. Like those things reemerge, sort of like it canceled out everything, which I don't have no proof of that, but it's like just very strange to me that we are seeing a reemergence, and it could just be because we have a significant amount of people from other countries at the moment, and the way that the V is supposed to work is to create this sort of fake herd immunity, but the idea is that it won't work unless everyone has it. So, I don't know. It sounds like maybe our leg is being pulled a little bit because we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't. And now we're seeing childhood diseases that we actually thought were pretty close to eradication, but that was only for us. That wasn't suggesting that maybe we would have an influx of people coming here that have never had anything. So I'm kind of torn about the whole shot situation, because on one side of the aisle you have a country that really puts a lot of emphasis on making sure every child has said shots by the age 5, and then it continues into teenage years. And then on the other side of the aisle you have people coming in that none of that was regulated in their own countries. So I'm not blaming anyone here. I'm just saying, like, with on the subject of the V shot or the C shot. YouTube makes it really hard to talk here. On the subject of the C shot, and there's evidence of re-emerging diseases that people were actually inoculated against here in America. I just think it's weird. Maybe that's just another little kind of like conspiracy where we have all these people that were, they got the shot. They were very proud to go get that shot. And there is reason to believe that they were shedding it because it was a live shot, living, organism. So during the period, like the incubation period of when their body was adjusting to having that substance inside of it, they were shedding it. That's just in my opinion. Don't sue me. Not a doctor, not even a nurse. Just an observant citizen of the United States of America. And when my kids were little, I did get them their shots religiously. Filled out that little yellow card, carried it with me everywhere, until my youngest daughter was injured. And I believe my oldest daughter was injured too. I believe all my kids were injured from them, from whatever shot, this, that. I wish I could have paid more attention. And I will tell you, I cried every single time. It was like, kind of, I had to drag myself. It's like, well, the world is telling me this is what I need to do. I love my kids dearly, and I'm going to do whatever I can to protect them. And as a good mother at that moment, I thought I was doing the right thing. But I will tell you, I can remember every time the moment that I felt as if something had changed within each of my kids. And then my youngest son, he didn't have any vaccines. He was clean, basically. And then went through a divorce. And I thought my ex-husband was on the same page, but he wasn't. I thought he understood because we had discussed all those things, like the potential that our kids had been injured from the shots. One of them, and I might get this video taken down because I did try to talk about it before once upon a time, and it was either Facebook or YouTube that took me down. But my youngest daughter, I feel like, her incident is what made me choose to stop taking my kids to get them. She was born just fine, there was no issue. Right before we were getting ready to leave the hospital, they had given her the hep because in California during those years, I don't know if they still do it that way, but during those years, every single child is, right out of the starting gate, the very first born, they have to get that one because they want to protect the infants from the nurses potentially having hep. But the kind of hep, and I don't remember if it's A or B or whatever, is the one that you get when you're doing street drugs or sleeping around. So it was confusing to me, like, this is a perfect little baby, freshly born. Are you hiring people, nurses that are in the, that are potentially have this? Or, I mean, I understand the philosophy behind wanting to protect the infant, but when we went home that day, I just thought she was a perfect little baby because she slept really good. She was sleeping a lot, but don't ever think that that's normal for an infant, a newborn. Newborns do need their sleep, but they will wake up every 2 to 3 hours to eat. That's just, maybe the first day they won't because they had all the nutrients they needed from the umbilical cord. But once that cord got cut, they have about 24 hours before they really need to have, mother's milk or formula or whatever. So anyways, I just thought she was a really good baby. Like, oh, I won the lottery. She's a great baby. She just lets me rest and heal, because I did go through a lot of sciatica pain during the pregnancy with her, where I couldn't even walk to the bathroom. My husband had, at the time, he had to help me get to the bathroom all night long. So that was hard, because if you've ever had sciatica pain, your leg actually feels like it's going to give out, and you don't know if you're going to fall. It's a fall risk, especially when you're 8 months pregnant. So anyways, back to my daughter. She was sleeping a lot, and when we went to her first little baby checkup, they do the bilirubin test and all that. And by the way, the hospital that I was dealing with, I don't recommend it at all because there's been a lot of malpractice there, and my daughter's the only one that was born there, so thank God. Because I feel like they kind of didn't catch things when they should, and they actually administered that shot without my knowledge. They said that I signed paperwork. Yeah, I'm in labor and they're shoving paperwork in my face. I'm having contractions every 10 seconds or whatever, and that's when they decided to shove the paperwork in my face. So anyways, that's how they get you. So please don't sign anything that, I guess that's what the pre-visit is for, when you go to the hospital. But they didn't operate that way. They never gave me that option, so I never went and signed paperwork ahead of time. So what ended up happening is that she was diagnosed as jaundiced, and I know she wasn't born that way, because she was the right color, right? When newborn babies are kind of, every race is different. They come out a different color, but light-skinned babies are usually red when, or kind of purpley when they're very first born. But after about 6 hours or so, they start to get their regular skin tone. Their skin is adjusting to the air and all of that, and there's no pressure on their little bodies from labor, from delivery. So she looked fine. There was no yellow skin tone when we left the hospital. But she did, when we brought her back, she did have that jaundiced skin tone. And her little eyes, when she opened her eyes, they were kind of yellow too. So that was really scary, and I didn't know what to do. I was really scared, and my blood pressure started going up, and I ended up having to stay like overnight in the hospital because of my blood pressure. So I had preeclampsia with her. So, I mean, it could have been also the cause of the jaundice, but I really believe that it had more to do with the shot than, because infants, I don't know, it breaks my heart to think that we inject brand new, fresh little babies with substances that, like, we don't even test shampoo on babies. We don't, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. We're more humane with the animal testing in some instances than we are with our own infants. And that's just my opinion. I'm a mother of 4. I've seen about 20 years worth of medical practice because each of my kids were born 4 to 5 years apart. So 20-year span of experiencing the labor and delivery sector of the hospital, 4 to 5 years apart, and there's a lot of differences, like a lot changes, and not necessarily for the good. I just feel like a lot of stuff is not good. And nowadays, I actually think that these doctors and nurses, they don't catch things. Like, they're not, I don't want to insult anybody, but honestly, like, I've been to college, and I'm a mother of teenagers, and I know that with these phones and how we can look everything up, I mean, it's gotten so bad to where at college, the professors even have to, I don't know even how to explain this, but if you're trying to search up answers to specific college courses, Google's going to send you the wrong answer first. The professors made that possible, and they will tell you that in class. When you're in that college class, especially for the nursing and medical industry, they don't want people just Googling the answers. They want you to know it in your own brain. So they're taking measures to stop people from cheating in those medical courses because they know people are cheating. They wouldn't be doing that unless there was a reason. So we know that a lot of these medical, maybe not so much the doctors, but definitely the nursing industry, a lot of those people are cheating. They're just looking it up on Google or going so far as to download some other app besides Google that won't give them the wrong answers. But yeah, Google will send you the wrong answers if you're trying to cheat on, if you type in the book that you're taking in said class, the curriculum, those are keywords that Google takes and, throws you the wrong answer. And the only reason I know this is because the professor said something. Straight up, she told us that don't try to cheat because you're going to come across a lot of wrong answers on purpose. That's the way she said it too. So anyways, that leads me to believe that in cases like this where this woman, thank God her doctor caught that it was shingles, because a lot of people would be like, oh, that's eczema, or oh, that's psoriasis. But it might not be. It might be a viral infection. So anyways, I just wanted to touch on that today and just see what you guys might think, and if you have your own opinion, let me know. I'm not against anyone who gets them, but for my own self, I know I've had situations, and I don't even know, like, there's probably a statute of limitations, and how would you prove it anyways, and it's just really something I should have reported at that time, but I was scared, and I didn't know how to say it, because I will tell you, after that time, they really demonize you when you say no to the child's scheduled shots. They will demonize you, and I've had to sign waivers stating that I refused it for my child. I mean, they make you feel like the worst parent on the planet. To the point where they'll even patronize you by saying, well, don't blame us if your child gets sick. And to me, that's a curse. I don't appreciate that. That was at the Indian clinic where I've been taking my kids for over 20 years. The same head nurse, she sees me there too sometimes, and I don't have my kids there because they don't really go there much anymore, but I still do. And she just always gives me a dirty look because she remembers me. I'm probably one of the very few that goes there that would refuse it, because I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but they're federally run. It's a federal clinic, even though it's on a reservation and it's for the Indians. They really run it to a T, like, and they don't get paid very much. They're paid dirt cheap to work harder, I guess. I don't know. But they don't really put the client first. They don't put the patient first. They just patronize you and make you feel like you're stupid. And I think a lot of Native Americans go through the same thing, and they kind of like feel like, well, I guess because they're doctors, they know best. But it's hard for people to stand up to what they believe when it comes to the medical industry, especially at a place like that, because it's sort of like for people that don't have a lot of money. That's what an Indian clinic really is. So not to go too deep into all the ins and outs of that, but the actual tribal members, because this isn't my tribe, the Morongo Indians, that's the tribe for this area. My tribe is in Oklahoma, the Cherokee. Because I'm not a tribal member, but they still can allow you to go there, they don't go there. They don't use it. They have contract care, which means they can go, they get referred out to better doctors and better specialists. Sometimes they don't have the right specialist there anyways, but that's how they operate. And so I am grateful that it's there, but just to be fair, the tribal members don't typically use the federally run Indian clinic. And I think it's because of that, because they're tired of being patronized. And I mean, they have the right and the means and all of that to go to a better doctor. I would totally go if I could. If I lived in Oklahoma, I could probably go to better doctors. But anyhow, I just wanted to alert you guys of this situation, and maybe if I go, I don't know, I'm afraid to share any articles that have to do with the C-19, because for obvious reasons we went through so much censorship and all of that. So, but I just wanted to see what maybe you guys think, and I believe YouTube lets you say whatever you want in the comment section, so go for it. Try not to cuss, but like, they're not gonna flag my video if you leave a comment and you say the word that YouTube doesn't want us to say. They just censor us. It's just us. Us content creators. So anyways, guys, I've made this video far too long now and shared a piece of my life with you. But I hope you have a wonderful day, and bye for now.